All righty. Welcome to a special Tuesday evening edition of the Wisco Fanatics Show. You might have seen in the episode description for today, we are doing this on Tuesday evening because the Brewers are scheduled to play at 4:08 tomorrow afternoon, and normally our Wednesday shows start at 4 o'clock. So we're like, all right, we got to figure out how to talk about this without having to wait, until maybe Thursday when Game 3 happens, and then Game 4 happens on Thursday. So here we are on Tuesday. So we're going to talk about the first two games of the Brewers and Cubs series. And we'll discuss when we get through these two games kind of what our plan is going forward. But then we're also going to be joined by Mike to discuss the Badgers game against Michigan and their upcoming matchup against Iowa. And we'll talk about some of the stuff that we're going to be doing with Badgers football as well. But let's hit the intro and let's talk some baseball.
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
Alrighty, so as I said, two Milwaukee Brewers games have happened. They won on Saturday, and they won last night. Both very entertaining games, giving the Cubs some false hope before just yanking it out from under them twice in a row, really. So we're going to go to Game 1, obviously starting with Game 1. The Brewers won 9-3. So, Jake, let's go through Game 1. What stood out to you on Saturday afternoon / early evening with Game 1, Brewers and Cubs?
Yeah, so first things first, I'm hanging out, having a good time. I'm like anxious because I'm like, you know what? I am so ready. And they're going to win on Wednesday. I agree with you, Justin. They are going to win tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a fantastic day. Sadly, we won't have an episode, which is usually a thing that I look forward to. But I'll trade not having an episode for a playoff win. I'll just say that out there.
And advancing.
Yeah. And advancing. Secondly, I feel so comfortable in my regular role. I'm so happy that you're feeling better, dude. Like, this is so much better when we're both together.
Yeah.
But I'm anxious, and I'm like, dude, I'm ready for some playoff sports. It's just nothing's better than playoffs, right? And I talked to you about that, when the wild card was going on. I talked to you about that before last week's episode. I was like, dude, playoff baseball is so good. And you were like, playoff anything is good. And I'm like, yeah, dude, it's the best, dude. Like, you know that they're giving everything that they have in the playoffs. Like, they're not holding anything back. You saw it in the Dodgers and Phillies game yesterday when a dude dove at third base and got knocked in the head by the batter's helmet. But anyways, you get in there and you got Freddie Peralta on the mound, and Freddie Peralta is absolutely going to be a Cy Young Award candidate. He probably won't win it. It'll probably go to Paul Skeens, and rightfully so. He'll probably be third. I agree. Tyler put a really nice post up, posting a Baseball Savant page, stats on there showing how dominant Freddie really has been. And he gives you 5 2/3, gives up the homer early, obviously. So top of the first, Bush homers off Peralta for an early 1-0 lead. Chicago's feeling really good. Little do they know that this is the only run they'll score for the next 3+ innings. In that span, they ended up giving up 9 runs, 11 hits, 3 doubles, and that was really the story of the bottom of the first. So as we get into the bottom of the first here, Churriel leads off. He gets the party started by hitting a 95.5 mile per hour double to left. Then he just, was just like, Bryce is just like, yeah, I'll go stand on second base and you come touch home base, as he rips a double 105.4 to right. And Contreras is just like tick, tack, toe to center as he wants to hit a double himself, and he crushes his 104.2 miles per hour. And that's all in a matter of 6 pitches, by the way.
I was just going to say 2 of those 3 were on the first pitch.
Churriel saw 4 pitches. The next 2 guys are just like, yeah, I want to do that too. So they crush the first pitches they see. 6 pitches later, the Cubs are like, what the hell? We're down 2-1. And they have the lead back, and they have a guy on second with no outs and Yelly at the plate. He ends up grounding out. Vaughn has a 5-pitch walk. Frelick is safe because apparently Horner is in the season of giving and decides to just let him be safe.
We need to talk. On this.
Go ahead.
Because it happened again last night, which we'll get into that. But this thing here, Justin, we're going to get to Contreras. I'm going to get to game 2. The thing with this is the Cubs They come in as this offensive juggernaut, good defensive team. That's what they're built on. They're built on offense and defense. The Brewers, for a long time, were built on pitching and defense, and then over the last 2 years with the hiring of Pat Murphy as the manager, have added offense, and they've gotten better offensively while maintaining their pitching and defensive identities.
Yep.
The most of July/August was spent by mainly Cubs fans, but Mets fans you can mix in there, Reds fans a little bit, Cardinals fans a little bit, but mainly Cubs fans trying to get a narrative going that the Brewers were not good, that they were only lucky.
Yeah.
And I said something then that I'm going to repeat now when it comes to errors happening against the Brewers. Because what I said, what I'm going to stand on, what I'm going to continue to repeat is that when you put guys in that position, Nico Horner in this example, it's not luck. It is pressure. That's pressure. Forcing guys to speed up, forcing guys to take a look at how far down the line Sal is when the ball gets to the glove. And then you take your eye off the ball. That's not luck. That is not luck. It's not lucky that Nico Horner took his eye off the ball. He's under pressure because Sal is running his ass off line on a pretty routine ground ball. Granted, it was a little slower hit, so a guy like Sal is instantly out of the batter's box thinking, ooh, I might be able to beat this out. But that pressure of, shit, I got to get this quick, that allows Sal to be safe on an error.
Yep.
And then continue because more things happen.
Yeah. So then Contreras ended up scoring on the play, and I'm going berserk. I'm like, what the heck is going on, dude? This is amazing. So after that happens, Durbin ends up striking out, and Perkins, in my opinion, is really the one who made this inning really hurt.
Can I throw something out with this at bat?
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
I would say, obviously, being in the playoffs gives it a little extra oomph and a little bit of bias. But I think that was one of the at-bats of the year.
Oh, yeah, dude.
An 11-pitch at-bat ties the longest at-bat in Brewers playoff history with Jesus Aguilar, going back as far as pitch tracking goes, which started in 2000.
Wow, I did not know that part, so I love that.
Got you.
Like you said, it was an 11-pitch at-bat. He fouled off 5 pitches during the at-bat, and he fouled off 4 straight before he finally connected on a single that scores Vaughn. And after that, the Cubs fans, the Cubs team, they're feeling it. You know, you could see it in their face. They're feeling the pressure. They're looking rattled. 4 straight pitches to Joey Ortiz.
Can I jump in before you get to Joey Ortiz?
Let me say one thing. Last night, when they were talking about Joey Ortiz at the plate, I feel like the color commentator was being really unfair to Joey Ortiz and his bat. I'm just going to say that right now, but go ahead.
Just before we get to Joey Ortiz, just because Blake Perkins, after that knocked Matthew Boyd out of the game.
Yeah.
He was done at 2/3 of an inning in 30 pitches.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Reports were that the Cubs were trying to get 2 or 3 innings out of him, and they got 2/3 of an inning out of him. Justin said we're definitely lucky enough to be the best team in baseball. Yeah, but again, that doesn't happen by luck. But yes, I mean, you get to Joey Ortiz, and you can continue.
Yeah, so 4 straight pitches, 4 straight balls for Joey Ortiz. And then Jackson Chourio ends up making MLB history with 2 hits in the same inning. And that scores 2 runs. Frelick and Perkins, both who run well. And, you know, the Brewers end up getting out after that. And it's 6-1 after 1. So Cubs fans in the top of the first are feeling really, really good after the home run. They're like, I'm getting text messages from, you know, a couple of people who I talk to are Cubs fans. They're all saying Bush, you know, with a bunch of S's. They're all jacked up. And then I'm texting them the entire bottom of the first inning as I'm laughing and giggling and crying, and my face is hot, and I don't know what's happening. I can't see straight. And they don't want to respond to me now. They don't want to say nothing to me now, which is fine. But get out of the kitchen if you can't handle the heat. You know the saying. It's a saying for a reason.
The thing with Chourio in that at bat, too, he got down 0-2 really quickly.
He did.
And then the single that he hit to make it 6-1 was a 1-2 pitch. And that 6-run inning also tied a Brewers franchise record for their highest scoring postseason inning.
Dude, honestly, I'm not trying to jinx. I'm knock on all the wood here. They're setting all these franchise best, franchise first. I mean, they might just go all the way instead of franchise first. I'm just saying it feels like that right now. I'm riding the high. I'm going to try not to ride it too crazy, but I'm riding the high right now because it feels good to be a Brewers team.
So the thing with that is we can ride the high while also saying that we know they need to take care of business tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
they absolutely know that too. And
W's in the chat.
W's in the chat. Don't ever say that again. So Peralta ends up having a clean second inning, which, if you're as a Cubs fan, you're telling yourself, okay, that first inning really sucked. They didn't just give us one hook. They gave us 3-4 hooks. But we're still standing. You still have the second through the ninth inning to try to claw back. And that's exactly the mindset that you need to take as a fan. That's the mindset that the Brewers would be taking, right? Here it goes. There goes Justin. No W's in the chat.
All the W's in the chat.
It's just devastating when the pitcher comes out. You have Freddie Peralta, who's been one of the best pitchers in MLB this year. He comes out and gives you a clean second. At that moment, after that third out in the second inning, you're like, fuck. So the Brewers, after that, they start the second inning with back-to-back singles from Contreras, Yelich, and Vaughn. And the bases are loaded. We're up 6-1. We're laughing. It's a great time. Frelick ends up lining out, and then Durbin gets an RBI single. He's so jacked up. I feel so good for Durbin. A guy who, kind of was a little bit disrespected, I feel like, in the trade. I feel the same way about Joey Ortiz. They're kind of just throw-ins in the trades that we did with the two AL East teams. And Durbin has absolutely been tremendous this year. He's a freaking bulldog, man.
He's going to be top 5 in Rookie of the Year for sure.
He better be. I love Joey Ortiz. I love Durbin. They're setting up the left side of our infield for a long time, hopefully.
With that single in the second inning for Caleb Durbin, at that point already, every player had reached base for the Brewers.
Yeah, that's
with one out in the second inning, every player had already reached base for the Brewers. The Brewers had 5 guys that had driven in runs, which is more outs than the 4 outs that they had committed. They had committed 4 outs and had 5 players with runs batted in.
That's just
stupid.
Sick.
I'm going to do more of that kind of stuff with the end of the game because it's fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, as the bases are loaded and Frelick lines out, Durbin RBI single, which scores Contreras and Yelich. Perkins ground out to first. Ortiz, another four straight ball walk. And then Churio, he ended up hurting his hamstring. Now, obviously, hindsight, we ended up knowing that after Saturday he was okay because he played last night. We're going to talk about his amazing moment he had last night as well. But he hurt the hamstring, running out an infield single that ended up scoring Vaughn. And then Terang struck out, and, things are looking 9-1 after 2 innings. And it's just like,
I will say it was funny to see that came against Aaron Savali. I do want to give a smidge of credit to Matt Shaw, who did save a run, maybe 2 runs, by making a diving play on the third baseline.
That's a good point.
If we're being fair,
that's a good point.
Play. I mean, it kept it from being 11-1, but
Yeah. So I have just a few more things with the hitting, and then I have some pitchers stuff, context I'd like to go through, and then I will pass it over to you. So the Brewers offense kind of got cold after the second inning. They got 1 hit in the 4th inning. Frelick had a single. They had a hit in the 5th from Terang, who was a single, and 1 hit in the 7th, which was a double from Perkins. But they went pretty quiet after that. Back to the pitching real quick. Peralta he threw 95 pitches for his 5 2/3, 13 to 24 batters that he faced. He had a first pitch strike, so getting ahead. I'd like it a little bit more, but he has stuff to fight back, right?
Yeah.
Ashby, he threw 16 pitches, 11 of them for strikes. He got ahead on 1 of 4 people. Koenig threw 17 pitches, 13 strikes. So they're filling up the strike zone, which is something that I want to see. Mears, psychopath Mears, just screaming his face off. Love that, dude, because I get into that emotional shit, man. 20 pitches for him, 15 of them were strikes. And in terms of strikeouts, they had 12 strikeouts. The other 15 outs, you want to know how that happened? They had 7 groundouts, 3 from Freddie, 1 from Ashby, 1 from Mears, 2 from Koenig. And they had 8 flyouts, 5 from Freddie, 2 from Ashby, and 1 from Koenig. Freddie Peralta also had 14 swings and misses, which is impressive. Ashby had 4 of the 5 fastest pitch speeds of the game. The other one was Jared Koenig at 99 miles an hour. Ashby also threw pitches 98.9, 99, which tied with Koenig, 99.1, 99.6. So he's almost gassing it up there at 100 miles an hour, what the goggles do, which is crazy. Brewers had 9 hits. This counts outs and, actual hits that they had. They hit 9 baseballs 100 miles an hour. They had 12 other hits that were at least 90 to 95 miles per hour. So they're hitting the ball hard. Yeah. And I wanted to talk about Contreras. This guy comes out with an article, right, before the game. And I'm such a freaking sucker for this kind of stuff, man. Because, he pumped. He was like, it was perfect. It was just enough, trash talk where he was talking like, we're the freaking best. I want to be the freaking best. We're going to win the goddamn title. You got to come through us if you want that shit. But then he was also talking, he kind of opened up, talking about how, at first he didn't want to be here. And now he doesn't want to be anywhere else. Yeah. And, dude, I'm literally giving myself chills because I was thinking about it, man. It's like, it was literally perfect. It's perfect. And then he comes out in his first 2 hits, hits a double and a single, both of them 104.2 miles an hour. He has a slow ground out. He grounded into a double play that was 85. And then he hit another one hard that ended up being a ground out, but he hit it 103.8. So he's hitting the ball hard. He's leading by example. And, dude, we're going to talk about a celebration pretty soon here after you talk about game 1 because call me up, boy.
You mentioned the hard hit balls. I did total up the 2 for the 2 teams. The Cubs had 8. The Brewers had 18.
Yeah.
The thing with the first 2 innings, the Brewers had sent 20 batters to the plate in the first 2 innings. 20.
God damn. There's 27 outs in a baseball game, by the way, so everybody knows for context.
Yeah. Last 2 things, 3 things. Sorry. 1, the Brewers didn't have to use Trevor McGill or Abner Uribe.
Yeah.
On Saturday. So those guys both got plenty of rest.
Yep.
The Brewers had 9 runs before the Cubs had 9 at-bats.
Oh, that's embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
Freddie Peralta struck out more Cubs, 9, than the Brewers had total, 8.
Oh. Don't do it to him, Tyler. Damn.
Game 1 was a lot of fun.
Damn.
And, going into game 2 last night, annoying that it started at 8 o'clock. I could have done with a 7 o'clock start. That would have been nice. But it is what it is. We stay up late and we watch playoffs.
Yeah, we do.
The Cubs, they start with another first-inning home run. And the thing with Saturday is Freddie Peralta allowed a solo home run. It is what it is. There's no traffic on. It doesn't hurt as bad as when you allow a 3-run home run by allowing a couple base runners before that. So the Cubs jump ahead 3-0 this time, and it's like, damn. Ashby's command, his location wasn't great to start the game. But you get to the bottom of the first, and then Churio and Terang both strike out. It's like, damn. I was really hoping we'd be able to, kind of get some runs back, maybe put up a big inning and, not let the Cubs settle in and get confident with their first 3-run inning. But William Contreras and Christian Yelich follow with 2-out singles like they do, and you get Andrew Vaughn to the plate. And I literally took my phone, turned it over so that I don't get anything from Twitter. I don't want to see anything like, Andrew Vaughn coming to the plate at the big moment. Like, I don't want anything spoiled for me. Turn my phone over, and I'm just watching, and I'm just sitting there watching Andrew Vaughn, and I'm just like, erase it. Erase it. Erase it. And he fouls a couple pitches off. And then on a 3-2 pitch, the 7th pitch of the at-bat, he hits a moonshot. And I'm like, damn, he hit it too high. I can see Hap kind of drifting. It looks like he's jogging. He keeps jogging, and he keeps jogging, and he's still staring up the entire time. Like, I think Jeff Levering said it on the radio call, but it's like, I can't believe it didn't hit the roof Prince Fielder style. It ends up in the second deck. And it's like, and I'm just like you. I'm just laughing. Like, I'm trying to stifle laughter as my kids are like laying down in bed, not asleep yet. But I'm trying to stifle laughter, still getting over the cold that I've had for a week and a half. And I'm just like laughing, coughing, giggling, like just having a grand old time. Like, there's no way that this just happened. That Andrew Vaughn gets to be the guy to hit the tying home run in the bottom of the first inning. We are one inning into this game, and it's already like, holy shit, we've already been through a roller coaster. We're one inning into this game. We have like 2.5 hours to go.
Right.
So, the top of the second, strike zone, awful. Absolutely awful. And we made a post about it, and I think the funniest thing is Cubs fans coming to our post about it after the game and being like, you won, why are you complaining? It's like, made this complaint in the second inning when this game was tied 3-3.
Yeah.
Like, this, it cannot happen. This is a playoff game. You cannot be calling blatant strikes balls.
Agreed.
Cannot happen in a playoff game. Like, we have advocated since like the summer of 2023 for the AAA challenge rule that's finally coming to Major League Baseball next year. We've been pretty strong advocates for it.
Yep.
We don't need to go, full robo umps, but the challenge rule that should have been implemented last year already.
I agree with that.
But we get to that point, and I think Ashby's command improved. He was getting the fastball in the top of the strike zone, not getting the calls. And I'm like, you know what? If he's not given the high strike, fine. As long as Imanaga doesn't get the high strike, it is what it is. And then we get to the bottom of the second inning, and Imanaga is getting the high strike, and I'm like trying to fight profanity because, like, if there's anything that bothers me when it comes to officiating, it's inconsistency.
Yeah, I think
If you're going to let stuff go, let it go for both. If you're going to call it tight for both. In any sport.
Yep.
Any sport, any strike zone, any points of emphasis. If you're going to call it tight for both. If you're going to call it loose for both. Just be consistent and make it so that everybody's, feeling like they're on a level playing field. Not that the Brewers are feeling like they have to throw the ball 4 inches lower to get the same strike calls. That's the shit that bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
Steve said, I was at last night's game, and when King Vaughn hit that 3-home run, I thought in my mind they have a never say die attitude. Great game. Go Brewers, never say die. And like I said, that was only the first inning. We are 11% done with the game at this point. We still got 89% of this game to go yet. But it didn't lead to any damage. The Cubs did send 2 extra guys to the plate. But like I said, didn't lead to any extra damage. You get to the top of the third inning, and I just want to give Pat Murphy some credit. I'm going to hold off on some of the other stuff until we get through the entire game. But I like putting Mizorowski in that spot. So you get to the top of the third inning where if Mizorowski's good, you can leave him in.
Mm-hmm.
If he struggles, you still have Quintana and Priester in the bullpen available to back him up. Now, I know I'm going to talk about Priester when we get to the end of the game, but I'm going to save it for the end because it's part of the going forward part of this. With that, we got Kyle Tucker to strike out, then threw 6 straight balls, did come back to strike out Happ on a full count, got through the inning, and we get to the bottom of the third inning. And again, this all happened with 2 outs again, just like the home run and the 2 hits before it. William Contreras destroyed a middle-in fastball. Like, if you're going to give William Contreras a spot, a ball in that spot, he's going to pull it. Like, he's at his best when he's driving the ball to the right center gap. But if you give him an inside pitch in the middle of the strike zone, he's pulling it. And he just yanks a fastball 411 feet, 107.6 off the bat, and he watched it fly. And Jake's ready for it.
Dude, Okay. I'm not going to go too far back, but I also thought the Priester hit was too high. I thought it was going to be one of those ones where the guy leans up against the wall and he catches it, and I'm going to be like, God damn it, that was so close. But it wasn't, thank God. Dude, when I tell you, there are two favorite players for me. Sal Frelick, dog. He shows up, he plays hard, he does his job, and he plays with passion. Those are my number one favorite guys. My number two favorite guy, because if anybody knows my personality, I like talking a little shit. Now, every once in a while, talking shit comes back and bites me in the ass. That sucks. But I've done it for a long enough time that I can deal with it. Contreras likes to talk shit and stand on business. That's my boy, dude. He's over there. He looks in the dugout at Craig Counsell.
Yeah.
And he says, call somebody up, boy. And hang up the phone.
He said after the game that he's talking to Brewers fans. It's like he called Brewers fans to say, I love you, puts the phone down and runs the bases.
We know who he was talking to. We know
That's
who
what
he was talking to.
He said he was calling the Brewers fans.
Hey, we know who he's talking to, but he can say what he wants.
It would have, dude, could you imagine if Vaughn did it after he hit his home run?
Dude, I think I would have cried tears of joy. If Andrew Vaughn shows Tiger, I might.
If Andrew Vaughn would have gone like this after hitting his home run, dude, just remembering the homer that he hit earlier in the season against the Cubs, and Counsell immediately turns around and goes to the bullpen phone.
Yeah.
Bro, if Vaughn would have done that, oh, man, I would have lost it.
That would have been the funniest thing ever, honestly.
Christian Yelich did follow William Contreras to a home run with a single, and Imanaga was done. And I've seen a couple Chicago radio hosts saying, oh, Boyd shouldn't have been pitching game one. Imanaga had no business being pitching in game two. The first one, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Second one, I commented, I'm like, you know what? Boo, frickety hoo. The Cubs are supposed to be built on offense and defense.
Yep.
And it's like, well, they know what they needed to get, and they didn't get it. Yeah, and your GM got extended earlier this summer. This Cubs team was supposed to be built on this big juggernaut offense. 3 runs in the first inning, none after that. They hit 3 solo home runs in game one. Top of the fourth, Mizorowski found his fastball command, got 2 quick strikeouts, then allowed a walk before getting Bush to fly out. Bottom of the fourth, Caleb Durbin got hit by a pitch like he does. Joey Ortiz got a 2-out single to get Jackson Chourio to the plate, and Jackson Chourio demolished a baseball.
Dude.
It felt like a desperation kind of play for the Cubs to put Daniel Palencia, their most of the season closer, in that situation. And he threw essentially what I would say, what I put in my notes as 3 quote-unquote try-me fastballs. He threw one at 100.8, threw one at 100.5, and threw the third one at 101.4. All of them pretty close to the middle of the plate. Basically just, I'm going to throw you heat, see if you can hit it. And doing it twice, if he had thrown Jackson Chourio like a 90-mile-an-hour slider, he probably swings out of his shoes.
Yep.
But you threw him the same pitch 3 times in a row and didn't expect Jackson Chourio to be like, oh, okay, I understand it now. And puts it off the wall 30 feet over the fence that for some reason Pete Crow Armstrong thought he was still going to have a chance to jump up and have it anywhere near his glove.
That's the funniest part of the whole play is that he falls to the ground. He slumps down like a guy who just got the worst phone call in history. And then he goes crisscross applesauce, dude. That was the fucking funniest thing of all time, bro. I was geeking out with that.
Him sitting at the bottom of the fence.
Oh. He looked like he was a kid on timeout. Dead ass.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he was sitting there like a kid who wants Mom, can you come pick me up?
Yeah.
That's the vibes that I got from it.
I'm not having fun anymore.
So that third pitch, that 101.4, went off the bat at 103.9, traveled 419 feet.
Yeah.
All in all, you look at Mizorowski, he threw 31 pitches at 100+ miles an hour. That is the most in a game, not just a postseason game, most in a game, baseball game ever by anybody not named Jacob deGrom or Hunter Green.
That's crazy.
He also did it in 3 innings.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if next year he has a game like this where he goes 6 innings? Could you imagine 60 pitches at 100 miles an hour?
I'm going to feel bad for the other team.
Dude, I said it earlier this year when he was, on his all-star streak. If his command is good, like it just has to be plus. It doesn't have to be amazing. If his command is just good, he's going to be NL Tariq Skubal.
Yeah.
That's where he's going to be. That's the level he's going to be at.
Yeah.
Now, he threw the 3 innings, gave up a hit, had 2 walks, had 4 strikeouts on 57 pitches. 31 out of 57 pitches, over 100 miles an hour. More than half the pitches you're seeing are flying past you in less than the amount of time it takes you to blink. And the thing is, I saw this from Pitching Ninja. Because of the extension that he gets, he pushes off so far from the pitching rubber that the perceived velocity is over 106 miles an hour.
Yep, I saw that
because of how far he pushes off, because he's so big. So he gets that much closer to the plate, shortening that distance, shortening that amount of time, makes the perceived velocity over 106 miles an hour on his pitches. Kim said, besides the offense, I thought it was awesome. We won essentially on a bullpen game. I am going to say something with this game for what the plan was after I let Jake give his roundup on the game. Following Jacob Mizorowski, Chad Patrick followed for an 11-pitch, 1-2-3 6th inning. Koenig pitched the 7th, started the 8th for Kyle Tucker just to get the lefty-lefty matchup. Got him to pop out. Trevor McGill came in. You said it was an interesting spot. I don't know if you want to elaborate on your thoughts at all, and I'll say what I said to you when I thought about it.
Yeah, I thought they were going to have McGill go in the 9th, and they were going to save Uribe again. I thought they were going to let Koenig finish the rest of that inning. So I was like, oh, interesting. But I guess breaking it down when you take a step back, like you said, the lefty-lefty matchup, and then, you let McGill come in, get some playoff reps. And, he said before the playoffs, too, he said, whatever role they want me to play, I'm ready to go. We're all ready to go. And that's exactly what it is. Clean inning. Clean.
So, yeah. So my thought was he had one outing when he came back from the injured list. He had one outing. He pitched the Sunday game against the Reds. Mm-hmm. With this, you bring him in for 2/3 of an inning. Obviously if he gets both guys out, if somebody reaches base, you're facing more than 2 batters. Mm-hmm. But you bring him in, he doesn't have a 3-batter minimum if he finishes the inning.
Yeah, true.
So I'm thinking, okay, this is a way where they can get him leverage, but also possibly only have to face 2 batters.
That's pretty smart.
Sometimes.
Pretty smart.
So that was my thought with Trevor McGill, bringing him in for the last 2 outs of the 8th inning. He got 2 flyouts. And you get to Abner Uribe, 9th inning. 3 up, 3 down, all strikeouts, all on the slider. That dude has so much swag. He's going to be the Brewers closer for 6 years after Trevor McGill decides that he wants to move on, or, if they just say, you know what, Abner's so good, we can't keep him out of the 9th inning. He needs to be in the highest leverage, or they make him co-closers. I don't care. Abner Uribe, I would say, is probably top 2 or 3 in, if we're talking guys who have the most swagger or whatever you want to call on the team. He might be number 1.
Dude, the whole celebration, bro, like the gun, the blow it off, the put it in the holster, the roll the dice on it, that is filth, dude.
So I have some game whole thoughts, but I want to let you give any takeaways that you had that I didn't mention before talking about a couple of things on the game as a whole, and then kind of where the Brewers go from here.
Yeah, so covering the home runs, you did a tremendous job on that. You let me add in, some of the funny moments that I was laughing at. The one thing that I wanted to talk about as a roundup is, I just love the aggressiveness of the Brewers offense. They don't back down from anybody. It shows, obviously, they've had a deficit the last 2 games. And I also wrote down, might be nice for us to take a lead when we're not losing in the first inning. Yeah. Maybe we can just play with lead the whole game. That would be nice too.
I have thoughts on that.
if that's my only gripe, then that's, I'm nitpicking at that point. But I thought the offense was awesome. I love the aggressiveness. I wrote down the pitches, strikes, and stuff like that because I think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
I also got the league average. So Ashby, 43 pitches, 23 strikes. You nailed it on the head. His location wasn't great. He was hanging his slider a little bit, which is the one that obviously got banged out by Suzuki, and then he had another really bad hanger. It was spinning. It wasn't doing the drop thing. It was spinning though. Mears only had to throw 3 pitches for his third of an inning. Mizorowski, like you said, 57 pitches, 32 for strikes. He got ahead on 7 of the 12 people that he faced. Chad Patrick, 11 pitches, 8 strikes. Koenig, 16 pitches, 10 strikes. He got ahead on 3 of the 4 people that he faced. So tremendous job by Jared Koenig. Last couple of weeks, he's been on a heater. He's been really, really good, and now he's continuing that into October. And then Trevor McGill threw 9 pitches, 6 of them strikes. And Abney Uribe threw 13 pitches. Like you said, the 3 strikeouts, he got ahead of all 3 guys. So he's coming up there throwing gas, getting ahead of people, forcing them to look for the heat. But then he's giving them, the slider, which is moving on you. So if he's throwing that for strikes, it's the same thing with Trevor McGill. If Trevor McGill's throwing the knuckle curve for strikes, you might as well just try to bring Jesus with the at-bat.
Yeah.
That's the only chance
you might as well just guess. Just guess at one of the 2. Swing with your eyes closed and just hope that you guess right.
Yeah, you're shit out of luck. So on top of that, the Brewers threw 152 pitches this game, 93 of them for strikes. That's a 61% rate. That's pretty good. The league average is around 57%. So being above that might be something to why they're so successful. They get ahead in counts, and the Brewers pitchers really attack you. They come after you. Now, if Ashby's slider was working good, that's when Ashby's going good, right? Because he can give you that 98, 99 mile an hour right at your face, and then he could pull the rug from under your feet, right? So once he gets that slider down a little bit, he'll be just fine. But I just thought that was pretty interesting. A little bit above the league average.
Yep.
That probably should have been something that I paid a little bit closer attention to in the regular season, but never too late, right?
Yeah. So the Milwaukee Brewers, they retired the final 15 batters that they faced.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th innings, 5 straight innings where Cubs just went 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
Not a single base runner. After the first 3 innings, they only reached on walks after the 3rd inning.
Yeah, I know.
So 5th through 9th, nobody even reached base at all. And after the 3rd inning, 0 hits.
Mm-hmm.
The only guys that got on base were the couple walks that Mizorowski had.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to your point on the Brewers offense being, relentless with it, all 7 of the runs that the Brewers scored last night came on the home run, which is interesting, but they all came with 2 outs as well.
Yeah.
So as we look at what's next, the reason that we're doing this week's show tonight is because the Brewers play at 4:00 tomorrow afternoon.
Yep.
Now, Quinn Priester is starting that game tomorrow.
Yep.
And the Brewers, they kind of dangled it out there like, we're going to use Ashby as an opener, and then we're going to have Quinn Priester maybe follow. Priester walks out to the bullpen. So it's like, okay, Quinn Priester's going to come into this game at some point and be the bulk innings guy. Came out after the game that Pat Murphy had no intentions of pitching Quinn Priester at all last night. Quinn Priester was not going to enter last night's game. He was full decoy to the point that they were going to have Quinn Priester tossing in the bullpen as if he was going to come in. That's how far they were going to take the decoy with Quinn Priester.
Jesus.
He was never coming in. But Pat Murphy was going to go as far as having him up and warming in the bullpen. And had the Cubs building their entire lineup around what the Brewers were trying to do. And the Brewers, like Kim said, get to have a bullpen game and get a W. And that kind of saves the what would have been the Brandon Woodruff start. In my opinion, I think Woodruff would have started game 2 if he was healthy. And hopefully we can get to the NLCS and maybe see him there, or the World Series and maybe see him there. We're going to have to see. Woodruff said day by day. So Simon said W's in the chat. You say, I do say that. So that's part of that. Now, looking at the Brewers in games 1 and 2, they scored 9 runs and 7 runs, 16 runs in the 2 games. Game 1, they scored 9 runs, 0 homers. Game 2, they scored 7 runs, all homers. There's no way that you can be in the Cubs coaching staff and be like, oh, this is how we beat them. We take away the homer, they're good, or, we pitch to contact. You have to use all 3 outs. Like there's nothing about the Brewers lineup and the woodpecker stuff goes with it. There's just no way that anybody can feel comfortable facing the Brewers lineup. Now, that said, obviously you have to win the games before you advance. So Thursday would be game 4 if necessary. Saturday would be game 5 if necessary. We're going to let these games play out before we decide exactly what we're going to do, because the NLCS would hypothetically, potentially start on Monday. So Jake and I are going to have some conversations exactly what we want to do, because we want to be able to wrap up this series before the potential next series starts. So in an ideal world, Brewers wrap it up. We can talk on Friday and be prepared to move on. Hopefully the Dodgers and the Phillies can beat each other up a little bit in the meantime, although Dodgers kind of have a stranglehold on that series as well.
Yeah, they do.
So we'll see how the next couple of days go. Jake, is there anything else you want to say on Brewers and Cubs before we move on?
Yeah, just real quick so everybody knows what so a little bit going into the game tomorrow. The Cubs are 50-31 at home. They have the 8th best ERA at home this year in all MLB. The Brewers collectively, home, road, away, doesn't matter, neutral site, bullpen starters, they have the 2nd best collective ERA in all of baseball, and they also have the best road record in all of baseball. Quinn Priester, probably the acquisition of the year at this point. If they gave an award for that, dude, it's pretty close. They won 19 straight games with him.
That's valid. I was like, so in my mind, I'm just like, oh, it's Andrew Vaughn. And then I'm like, what it comes down to is Matt Arnold's going to win Executive of the Year again.
Yeah, he's going to win Executive of the Year. Murphy's going to win, Manager of the Year. Yep. Hopefully we're winning a World Series title. But all in all, we got one of our best pitchers on the mound from the regular season. We still have an amazing defense, and it's probably going to be some fallish weather in Chicago tomorrow. I haven't looked at the weather for Chicago, but the ball might not be flying out of the ballpark, but that actually benefits the Brewers in a lot of ways.
And you're just going to put in a guy who puts the ball on the ground anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm with it.
I'm very excited. Very, very excited. Steve said, knock on wood, that doesn't happen tomorrow. Go Brewers. As long as there's no rain, Brewers can win tomorrow.
Yep.
Because if it rains, Cubs are going to cancel it.
If there's sun, they might cancel it.
Yeah. Yeah, if there's rain in Illinois somewhere, Simon said, I heard it was going to be rainy from all the tears. That'll be after the game.
Oh, that's so funny.
Alrighty. Obviously we're in the ideal situation after 2 games.
Right.
But this is where I wanted to be. I wanted the Cubs for this reason. So that Cubs fans had no, you didn't have to face us. That's why I wanted the Cubs.
Same.
So, and I'll be this guy. You take the fandom out of it. Having a division rivalry happening in the playoffs for the first time ever, it's good for the sport also.
Hell yeah, it is.
It's just extra fun that the Brewers are whooping that ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve said the same. All right. So we're going to bring Mike in. We're going to switch to Badger football. And as we do, I'm going to kind of give the layout, the plan, the discussion points. So what we're doing, we discussed it. We didn't want to completely cut our Badger football coverage. We didn't want to do that because it's still a big thing as far as Wisco Fanatics is concerned. We're not going to not watch the games just because we don't necessarily love the performance that we're at. But we are also in a position where obviously we're doing this show on a Tuesday night instead of a Wednesday afternoon because the Brewers are in the playoffs, potentially looking at a deep run. The Bucks start soon. Steve said, welcome in, Mike.
What up, Steve?
The Bucks start soon. The Packers are going right now. We're actually going to have our Packers show at 8 o'clock tonight like we normally do. So that's going to start in about 45 minutes from now. So what we're doing is we are kind of abbreviating our Badgers football coverage. And why we are doing this is because we all have full-time jobs. and we, as our show, feel that our time would be better spent to increase the quality of our Badgers basketball content, because the reality is more people are going to be caring about the Badgers basketball program than they do about the Badgers football program 3 weeks from now.
Listen, man, we're here for the attention, and the attention's going to be on basketball and the University of Wisconsin in a few weeks. So it is what it is. We're still going to watch the games, but it's going to be a rough October.
So essentially what we're doing is we're just abbreviating our coverage to, we still have the same topics, but we're essentially limiting it to one big takeaway from our topics in the recaps, and then one goal for the topics for the preview. So again, we're not cutting the coverage, we're just abbreviating it so that we are able to devote more time and attention to the more attention getting, the more attention, deserving teams that we have going right now. Obviously, if Badger football, kind of rebounds, we're obviously going to still keep up the news. Mike is still on top of recruiting, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not, like I said, we're not cutting the coverage. We're just kind of abbreviating it. Again, we have full-time jobs and stuff like that. If we did the show for a living, nothing would change. But the realistic aspect of this is that we need to devote our attention, our effort to where the attention is. And it's going to be on Badgers basketball, on the Brewers, on the Packers, on the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, let's start with the offensive line. Jake, what was your big takeaway from the offensive line against Michigan?
Yeah, so finally, I wrote finally in all capital letters, it looks like they have something to build on up front. They looked, it looked pretty good. They looked solid. I'm drawing a blank on what the word I'm trying to think of.
Competent?
Yeah, they look better. They were pretty solid and pass blockers. They gave up some pressures, but you're not going to have a perfect game, obviously. And
Michigan's also ranked number 20.
Yeah, and they got some athletes out there. But they were solid in the run game. We got the run game going a little bit, and snapping the ball. We had one bad snap that I kind of remember, but pretty solid, honestly. So, all in all, I come away from this game and Tyler summed it up the other day, and I 100% agree with the sentiment. I've heard it from multiple people as well. Kind of sad that this is the state of the program, but it kind of felt like a win. And you gotta start somewhere. Building blocks. They don't have to be gigantic building blocks. Whatever your building blocks are, that's where you got to build. And right now, this is the building block that they've been handed. And the offensive line looked all right on Saturday, I thought.
Yeah. So, Mike, what was your big takeaway with the run game?
I wrote down two things. Number one, we have a pulse. I literally wrote that down for words. No, I thought that first drive was just that first drive was what Wisconsin football has been for like pre-Phil Longo era. Like that was big boy football. The quarterback made the perfect throws at the right times. Good, easy throws. Hunter Simmons, the Vinny, Tretch, I think, had a catch in that. No, he had not in that drive, but Lance Mason, Vinny Anthony, in that drive. A lot of guys got involved in that first drive, like everybody. And I called out the offensive line too, Emerson Mandel specifically on that first drive when they ran over to the right side multiple times. He was just pushing dudes back. So, we have a pulse. That's what I will say. I'm hopefully we can carry that and bring a more consistent, make it more consistent as we go forward here. But, considering where we are now, it was very nice to see that first drive that there's a pulse with this offense. It's going to take a little bit of time, I think, obviously, to build off of that, to put it all together for 4 quarters. But it was just good to see, like, holy shit, this is what we are, right?
That's kind of the vision, I think. That first drive is kind of the vision of the offense, which looks nice.
Yeah. So, no, it was good runs. Dylan Jones had a couple good runs. Darion Dupree, maybe a few. And the other thing I wanted to mention this, I feel bad for Yak because he only had 1 carry, and it was for that one Wildcat play that it was for -1 yard. And just looking at it now, I can the last couple games, he just hasn't gotten many looks. So I just feel bad for him. I just want to call that out real quick because you know how much we've all talked about him being involved and whatnot. So I don't know. I just want to throw that out there too.
feel like part of it's kind of just a product of just trying to get things working before you're adding mouths to feed.
Yeah.
As far as the pass game goes, the big thing is Hunter Simmons. Hunter Simmons started this game, and part of it was just they wanted to see somebody else in the offense. Also, Hunter Simmons took a lot of the first team reps during the week because Danny O'Neal was kind of banged up. So we saw Hunter Simmons towards the end of the Maryland game as well. But looking at it, he was 3 for 3 on the first drive. That drive ended in a touchdown. Connected on one deep ball. The next deep ball that he threw ended up being intercepted and probably should have been flagged for pass interference, but they'll call him for Michigan, but not for Wisconsin. So it is what it is. Like Jake said, it's one of those things where it's like, unfortunately, a 24-10 loss does feel like a win because we didn't lose by 30 or 40, especially on the road. But my two things were both on 3rd and 5s. So the first thing was Danny O'Neal came in for the first 3rd and 5. Jake and I said the same thing to each other in the group chat that we have with the three of us on the Badgers. Danny O'Neal has shown some good rushing ability. Mm-hmm. So you can bring Danny O'Neal in, and he gives you another running threat. I trust him in those RPO situations. And the other 3rd and 5 was if you're going to be running short comeback routes, like towards the sidelines, the ball has to be out way sooner. It cannot be the ball cannot be coming out when the receiver is getting to the spot that he's coming back to. Yeah. It needs to be out when he's first starting his turnaround to come back. Because when you throw that ball after the route has already been turned around,
you're late.
All the DB has to do is jump in front of it. That's an easy pass to break up because it's a long throw going horizontally across the field. So if you're going to be running those short comeback routes on the sideline, the ball needs to be out way sooner if you're Hunter Simmons.
Yep.
So, Jake, what was your big takeaway from the defensive line?
Yeah, so I always talk about point of attack, and I love the point of attack from the D-line. They kind of got pushed around the last couple of weeks, especially in the run game. I thought they played the run really, really well. Outside of a few runs where things kind of got mudded up, and Michigan had some good offensive line, so I'm just going to give credit to them as well. They do a good job at double teaming and working their way up to the linebackers. But, the big boys up front, it looked like another game where adding a bunch of 300-pounders actually mattered. This run defense is something to write home about. It's been very good, much improved from last year. So point of attack and gap responsibility for the D-line was much better. They should have had a couple sacks. There's very few quarterbacks who are that big, that athletic, who are going to be able to run and break tackles with strength and elusiveness that you're not going to face those guys every single week. Now, there are a few more out there in college than there are in the NFL because college is a little bit more even playing field, I feel like, especially, for D1 athletes. But they could have had a couple sacks this game. If you keep your rush lanes and give that same effort versus Iowa, it's going to go a very long way towards what maybe could turn into a W, I think, this week if they build on things that they did last week. They set the foundation last week for what this team could look like, offensive line, defensive line. Give that same effort, and you could turn out a W on homecoming. Plus, Mikey's got a fresh fade, so he's ready for the dub.
You notice that? Damn, man.
Bro,
that's 6 p.m. That was at 6 p.m.
I've been noticing everything, my boy. I'm like that.
All right. For me with the linebackers, the way I saw it, Jake talked about the running defense being better. I think the Badgers played a bunch of 2 linebacker sets, and I think it hurt the run defense. Made for a huge gain that set up Michigan's first touchdown. They had 2 linebackers on the field when Justice Haynes busted that huge, it was like a 45-yard run that set up a touchdown like 2 plays later. With Tackett Curtis and Christian Allegro playing well versus the run, to me, I saw those 2 around the ball closer to the line of scrimmage way more when the Badgers went into single high safety. And I just wanted to give Mike Trussell credit for making that adjustment by taking a safety off the field, still keeping an extra corner in coverage, but also allowing to still have 3 linebackers on the field. I think that was a great adjustment by Mike Trussell. So, Mike, what was your big takeaway from the secondary?
I mean, I'll just start off real quick by saying I think this defense played well enough to win this game. I think ultimately, when you score a when you score a touchdown the first drive and then you have 9 straight punts, and then you're not really helping out your offense too much, right? So the defense has got to get out there a little more. I know we did give up. My biggest takeaway was in the secondary, we did give up too many chunk plays at like the wrong times.
Honestly, I just wrote down in my notes that just the last couple minutes of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, McCauley just went crazy.
Yeah.
I tipped the cap to him. He went nuts.
Yeah, it was basically, it really sucked, after we score that touchdown, they come literally right back and tie it up. That definitely took the wind out of our sail a little bit, unfortunately. I was hoping we were going to be able to at least hang on to that for like a quarter, but Justice Haynes is the real deal. I think he's going to ultimately be in the Heisman Trophy race in the next couple of weeks. I think after a few more games are played, he's really good. That bullshit pass interference call. I mean, if they're going to call that against Rico, I would have expected them to do the same for us.
Just said it during the Brewers coverage. I don't care if you're calling it tight or calling it loose. Just call it consistent.
Yeah. Yep. It was the same thing. Underthrown ball. Fine. Call it. They're going to call Enrico.
If they're going to start doing that shit on purpose, the rules committee is going to have to step in and do something. If they're just going to underthrow balls so the receivers can run into a DB and I was trying to catch an underthrown ball, free 15 yards, they're going to have to do something about the rule.
Yeah, I agree. So that was unfortunate, but no, Michigan just had I just wrote down they did ultimately have too many big chunk plays that did cost us. Like you said, Tyler Dobbin, McCulley, he had himself a game. I mean, between that crazy catch that he ended up getting overturned, that was ruled a catch, and then that quick slant that he caught, bounced off Matt Young, the safety, and then spun around and then scored. That was pretty impressive on his end. I mean, no, it was just giving up those big chunk plays at the wrong times that ultimately, costed us essentially. But I do think at the end of the day, if we can just build that consistency on both sides, we would be right in the thick of things in that game. I just think ultimately, especially in the second half, we couldn't get anything going. Defense gets out there too much, and I think eventually we just started wearing down a little bit. So it wasn't bad by any means, but I know we can. This is something to build off of. I think going forward too. See what happens.
Alrighty. Well, we're going to jump into the preview. Jake, what are you looking for from the Badgers offensive line? What is your goal for the O-line on Saturday?
Yeah, so, I mean, you're going up against a pretty good defensive line that has 9 of the team's 12 sacks. They have one of their defensive ends, Llewellyn, has 5 of them. 3 of the 4 starters are also from Iowa. So, I mean, Iowa recruits Iowa very well, and they develop them very well. I think my goal for the offensive line is to not give up don't give up a big momentum sack, and I want them to have 2 rushing touchdowns this week.
All right, Mike, what's your goal for the run game?
Mine's pretty simple. It's just look for more consistency, man. How can we build off of that first drive from last week? Let's get 2 of those even this week. And 2 of those drives will be good enough to win this game probably.
It might be.
Yeah. So if we can just build off of that, because the thing is, I was rushing defense. Now they're coming into this week. We got bumped down to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th overall in the country after Michigan's game. To give you some perspective, Iowa is the number 4 rush defense in the country. So they're at 66.2 yards per game. We're still going to try to run the ball though. Make no mistake about it. It might feel like we're going to run into a wall again, but the only way we're going to get better is if we want this to be our identifier, so to speak, we have to try and consistently run the ball. And we'll see what happens. But build up some consistency going in this week. Like I said, it might only take 2 of those drives, I think, to get this game done. Anyway, and I firmly do actually believe that. So hopefully, we can get that going.
So I do agree with you on that subject. I mean, I'm looking at it from the passing game perspective. Iowa is number 42 in passing yards at 197.5 per game. I've been advocating for 25 plus pass attempts for the past few weeks. This game, I do feel like I lean a little bit more balanced. You're talking about a team that is one of the best run defense in the country, and now I'm saying to pass the ball less and run the ball more. But part of it has to be keeping the defense honest. You can't just be like, oh, the run defense is good, so we're just going to pass all game, let them drop 7 guys into coverage, and then go nowhere. So, yes, it's going to be one of those – it's going to be an ugly game. Very well may be a low-scoring game. Very well could be a game that both teams fail to reach 20 points. Both teams could fail to reach 14 points. But you have to have those short runs, and we've talked about this on our Packers shows at times. When it comes to football, you have to just accept that some of your runs are going to gain 1 yard, 2 yards, 0 yards, minus a yard. But you have to at least keep the defense honest so they can't just go, okay, they've abandoned the run, now we can drop everybody into coverage, and then just make things easy for them.
Yep.
So this is going to be kind of one of those games. So, Jake, what is your goal for the defensive line?
Yeah, you're going up against a Iowa offense that is run first. That is who Iowa is. They're not going to run away from it. They are very much like looking in a mirror where if you're the Wisconsin Badgers. They build their program the same way that Wisconsin does. They're a little bit better at recruiting their in-state guys, I'll say that. But run first offense, they have 4 guys over 150 yards. Both the starters are averaging over 5 yards per carry. Patterson, who has a couple more carries than Williams. Patterson is averaging 5.8 yards per carry, and Williams is averaging 7.2. You have to contain them to have a chance in this game. So gap responsibility. My goal, hold Iowa under 150 total rush yards.
Ooh, I like that one.
That would be amazing and a big step towards a W this week.
Mm-hmm.
So Iowa passes the ball even less than Wisconsin. It's like a 0.2% difference in pass attempts per game. But like I mentioned with the Michigan game, my goal is going to be playing more single high safety to keep that extra linebacker on the field to focus on Patterson, Williams, like Jake said, and Kamari Moulton. They really do have a committee backfield. So in my mind, it is playing to Iowa and like just at least early in the game until Iowa can make an offensive adjustment or show you that they're capable of doing so, essentially selling out to stop the run.
Yep.
Mike, what's your goal for the secondary?
It's going to be interesting because Gronowski, Iowa's quarterback, is questionable this week. He did have a non-contact injury against Indiana, so I am monitoring that a little bit. So I think that's going to go into their game plan a little bit. I know they really don't pass. Like Tyler said, they don't pass. They pass a little less than us. But I'm going to harp on this until we actually get one. I need a turnover from the secondary. I don't care if it's on a safety blitz or cornerback blitz and force a fumble or one of these corners.
I feel like he hits hard.
Yeah, I need a turnover, boys. We haven't had one since I don't think we didn't get one against Bama. We didn't get one against Michigan. We haven't had one since Middle Tennessee. If we didn't get one that game, it was Miami, Ohio. I'm pretty sure. So I think this is more so of a whole defense perspective, I guess, not just a secondary. Yeah. We need to win the turnover battle. This Iowa game would be perfect to do that because that could be 3 points difference that could win us the game in a situation like this. So we got to win the turnover battle. And I hope maybe somebody from the secondary can make a play. Not, I'll take it from anywhere though. So but no, let's get a turnover.
We got an interception versus Middle Tennessee State. That's the last time we had a turnover. So 3 straight games without a turnover. I went to look that up real quick.
Yep.
Alrighty. So again, we are kind of just abbreviating our Badgers football coverage. Again, it's not that we don't care about it. It's just that, like I said, we want to make sure we're devoting the deserved attention that the other teams that we cover deserve until we can get to a point where we can dedicate all the time that we have to this show, which we would love to do. But we want to make sure that the attention is going where it needs to be to keep the quality at the highest level that we can for those teams that are going to be drawing the more attention. So, Mike, thanks for hopping on with us on a Tuesday evening. We'll see you back probably next Wednesday, unless the Brewers are playing next Wednesday, but we'll see with that. And again, thanks everybody for tuning in, and be sure to tune us in again in about another 25 minutes, and we will see you for our Packers coverage. So you get a double dip of Wisco Fanatics on this Tuesday evening. So we will see everybody in about 20 minutes, and thanks again for jumping in.
Also, take the under. The under is 36.5. Take the under. Take the under. There's no